And there goes that. Good day, my friends. How's things going? Thanks for showing back up to check out my videos. I appreciate it muchly. And thanks for putting up with my substandard videos. But today, I'm sorry, it's not substandard. Today's video is going to be awesome because we got a couple different subjects for you. Besides the title subject, I want to go over one thing first. And that is, I owe somebody an apology. Van Seamus. One of his videos that he actually answered my 10 van life challenge questions to him. I didn't realize that he did it because YouTube, being YouTube, unnotified me from his channel. And YouTube tends to do that craziness once in a while. Like it unsubscribes me from my favorite channels and then I gotta go back and resubscribe. So YouTube, crazy you guys. Lemo's here, so I'll be back. He did the 10 van life question challenge. I'm gonna post the video here. It is a lengthy one. That's not a surprise. Awesome, Van Seamus. It's actually a really good video, and it clarified things that I couldn't actually answer, and he does a good job of that. But like I say, it's lengthier, so grab your popcorn and watch away. Speaking of YouTube challenges, I was again offered a YouTube challenge, which I'm gonna accept and I'm gonna do in a future video. However, I am gonna answer one question, question number 4, which goes to the title of this video. If you see, why compassion and kindness? Exactly, why compassion? Why can't kindness, especially in these times of crisis? And I'm gonna relate it with a story of my life. Question number 4 is, did you or do you still have a special bond with your grandparents? And you know what? I never overly had a special bond with either side of my family's grandparents. However, when I think of kindness and compassion, I think of my grandparents on my father's side and something that I went through. I was never really close to them a lot. My grandmother died when I was very little. I was 7 years old. She died quite early. She was 65-ish, but I do have some good memories of her still. I was a mischievous boy. Figure that, eh? I was always getting into trouble, running around and doing what little boys do. One of the things I remember was always getting scolded and being told to stand in the corner to behave. So you'd have to spend 15 minutes standing in the corner, a half an hour standing in the corner. I remember getting yelled at by my grandfather, grandmother, klapka on the dupa if you don't behave, meaning you get the belt smack on the ass, dupa being ass in Polish. Get run over here. He's always telling me, oh, kukaruka to the kapusta. So you crazy little cabbage head as a child, and other crazy things like that. Very old school guy. I remember, even though we had TV and cable was just being introduced in the 70s in the little town I grew up in and was raised, Brandon, Manitoba, in Canada, he didn't watch TV very much. He would sit at the kitchen table and turn on the radio, and he'd listen to the radio all day and all night, cutting his sausage and making cabbage rolls and pierogies a lot, so I got a lot of fond memories of that. And he was a cheap bastard too, and maybe that's where I got my cheap bastard side. Whenever he would bring bread home, he would save every little bread clip, every bread bag. He'd clean it out, get all the crumbs out and save it for everything else. Make his own sausage, all that type of thing. So a lot of memories there. When they first moved to Canada, they immigrated here. I think they said 1919 at the war to get away from the Russians. It was either immigrate here and get away from it, or be killed. That's no middle ground there, one or the other. So they escaped. He lived down in the river. They built a house out of cardboard and or a little pretty much homeless shelter, and lived out of that for their first year. And I can't imagine living in a cardboard house built box in minus 30 degree Manitoba weather. That's absurd. I do wish that he could have immigrated somewhere warmer. But yeah, that's where I spent the first good chunk of my life, was Manitoba. So his first job was actually digging ditches. He was paid pennies on the dollar to dig a ditch from Brandon to the city of Shiloh, which was about 12 miles away, 15 miles away out of Brandon. And they dug a ditch there because they were building an army base out in Shiloh. So, which actually, until about 5-10 years ago, was still an army base, and now I think they pretty much shut that down. German army was holding a lot of military exercises there. Anyhow, now I'm just doing blah 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 again. So I say kindness and I say compassion in these times because, you know, I got to go through my grandfather's death when he was 86 years old, I think. He was on his deathbed and in the hospital, and they called his family in. They said, you know what, he's not going to make it. We can keep him hooked up to all the monitors and oxygen and all this, but you know what, he's kind of at a state of on dying. He's going to slow die, or we could either pull off all the equipment and just let him go. So it was a family decision. His decision was he doesn't want to suffer. He never wanted to suffer, so that's what we decided to do. You know what? Let's pull all the equipment off. Let's call in the top family or the closest family, and let's let him go. And me being one of the oldest grandchildren and somewhat closest, I was allowed to be a part of that. He had 5 kids. Or 5 boys and 4 girls. So they had a family of 9. It was huge. But I think, if I remember, there was 4 brothers and sisters there, and I was the only grandchild. Because I was the only grandchild, they said, you know what, he's passing away. After they pulled the equipment off, you know what, maybe hold his hands just to kind of let him know we're there. You can hold his hand there, Chuck. You're the one that I think should do it. It's like, oh my God, I'm just I wasn't a kid, I was already almost 30-ish, I guess, maybe then, or late 20s, but I can't remember. I'm like not thinking proper right now. You know, just the look on his face as he was dying, it's hard to explain. It's just, he knows he's dying and he knows he's going. He just keeps looking at me in the eyes like, what's going on? You can see his eyes asking for questions. He can't talk or nothing like that. And I just always remember saying, it's okay, Grandpa. You're gonna be fine. You're going to a good place where you'll be safe and you're welcomed. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be okay. And I just kept saying that over and over. And yeah, just his last couple of breaths, he just let go and just holding my hand. And I remember the nurses coming in and saying, it's okay, you can let go now. You know, you know, in these trying times of coronavirus, there's a lot of people dying that don't have that option. So that's why I say we need a bit more kindness and compassion. People don't have anybody there for them. They're dying in ventilators in hospitals and no family or no doctors around because, you know what? Everybody has to keep away from them because of this corona. So no matter whether you think it's a hoax or not a hoax, let's stop the bullshit and let's kind of help others out who are going through, even not dying and just going through the struggle of having corona for a month or 2 weeks. We got to be there for them and support them. whether it's a holding of the hand, saying sorry you have this, or saying that I hope you get better, I hope you beat this, I hope you fight this. So there's a lot of things we can do to make things better. So anyhow, yeah, I don't know where I'm gonna end this, boys and girls, so we'll see. Yeah, no, I got nothing else to add. I think we should probably end it here, guys. So that's it. A little more compassion. That's what we need in these times. So thanks, guys. Cheers. We'll see you next time with more positive news, and we'll continue on with the count up of our next adventure, next life, condo life. Will it last? Will it not? Who knows? Will I like it? Will I hate it? That and more. Life of Chuck. Onwards, adventures to happiness. Cheers.